So I love this concept of humaning, and I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go, but I just got a thought when I was in my chair that a couple of things that are really big that would have been potentially even taking me out if they went wrong came up, and I immediately was like, no, I will not think about this. I'm sure that this is going to resolve.
Because everything's always working out for me.
That's right. So then I take smaller circumstances, but for big things that I really want. One day I was visualizing, I was inspired to do it. I felt the man that I wanted wrap his arms around me, and I was just laying in bed and feeling the ease of having coffee together. An hour later, a man that I've known for 10 years that I haven't seen in a long time sent me a message that said, I've had a crush on you for the last 10 years. I have felt the same way. And it was with shocking speed that I enjoyed this giddy, good feeling, that I started to focus on the 10% of it that was a little out of place. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Humaning, yes. And I'm noticing in every area of my life, like I live such a good life, and I've been following you for over a decade. And
actually, we've been following you. You think you're following us? You're the one stirring all the trouble up. You're the one putting all the stuff in the vortex. You're the one pointing at what you want us to give our attention to.
Yes. So I'm looking at the next leading edge step for me to really just do that hard when I look in that direction of something that legitimately is not what I want, whether it's in business or anything or a relationship, and just say, no, I don't have to consider that because it's either this or something else.
Let's chew on this for a little bit, because when you say no, the universe says she wants a lot more of that, because there's no such thing as no in this attraction-based universe. You're really going to like this, so let's just chew here for just a little bit. Start with something that you know really well. There's only attraction, there's no assertion. So that means when you get something that you don't want and it feels like somebody else is involved, it feels like they're after you, so you feel resistance about it. You sort of want to push that away. But when you stop for a moment and remember the most essential, absolute premise of all that you know, there's no assertion. So if there's no assertion and it feels like something's coming at me, what's up with that? Oh, I'm attracting something that I'm trying to push away and blaming them. You don't want to go there, do you? Blame does feel better than guilt, but that's what's happening. As Esther's been chewing on this recently and chatting with a few friends about it that are just enjoying the hands-on feeling of creation. She remembered an analogy that we offered years ago about, imagine your garden hose is out there in the dirt of the garden, and it's been raining, and some dirt, soil, is washed up into the hose. But when you open your valve and let some water flow, it all washes right out. It all washes right out. And it doesn't have to be a fire hose kind of pressure to wash it out. It just has to be gentle. And so as you are meditating on a regular basis and looking for positive aspects, reveling in the deliciousness of your life as you so often do, then you've just got that steady flow, that ease and flow of well-being flowing from you, which puts you in a position where you can't negatively attract and positively attract at the same time. You're doing one or the other. For Esther, there was something about acknowledging, wait a minute, this person is doing something to me that I don't like. And it feels for sure like that person is doing it to me, or that this situation is doing it to me. Until I remember there's no assertion. So if there's no assertion and only attraction, then my problem is I've got this push and pull thing going. I'm calling something to me with my vibration that I'm not willing to own up to, and trying to push it away with my words, which I've always believed in, because that's what humans do. Wow. So I'm tracking stuff I don't want, blaming everybody else for it when it's me doing it, and then trying to use my words to make it better. How's that working out for you? It never works, but understanding that that's what you're doing. So Esther began saying, I'm going to own my stuff. She used a different word. She got it from somebody else. I'm going to own my vibration. So things are going really well. She's like you. She has a wonderful life. But sometimes stuff happens that she feels uncomfortable about. And so she started thinking, now, wait a minute. There's no assertion. So all my previous premises are flawed, as I think you're doing that to me. You situation, you traffic, you economy, you whatever you are, you government, you politics, you personal whatever. If law of attraction, if it's only attraction, there's no assertion, then what is it that I would be well to acknowledge that I've got going on that's making me call that from you? All right, so you're sitting with that for a minute. Does that make sense to you? It's all you. You don't want it to be, but it is. It's all you. Feels like it's them, but it's all you. Damn it. You'd like it to be their fault, but it's all you. It's all you. So what's going on? So how do the others fit into it? Well, You're on an island with them. So let's talk about some of the things that you might be feeling, what it is that you're feeling that brings this to you. So you want to play with us?
Yes.
Tell us something if you want that comes to you, and then together we will identify the vibration that you've got going on that calls it to you. We'll help you to figure out what you've got going on vibrationally that is bringing this thing that you're not wanting to own.
Amazing. So he's like, this whole long, you're sexy and beautiful and everything I've ever wanted, etc. And then we're texting, and then like just nothing for 2 days or something. And I'm like, what? Really? And then I make that mean all kinds of things.
This one's going to be easy for
Okay,
you.
good.
Conversation opens. That moment when you were lying in bed in complete non-resistance, and for the first time in a while, completely lined up with what you put in your vortex. And then, because you completely lined up with it, your vibration had risen to the equivalency of what was in your vortex, and then the door opened and the conversation came from him. When you got what you wanted, we're saying it was attraction from under the influence of source. When you got what you didn't want, we're saying it's attraction. So for a moment you were open to what felt good, but then what happened? What happened is something didn't happen. So let's talk about, you're able to see the cause and effect of lying in bed, feeling aligned, and you saw the effect of that. Now, don't you want to acknowledge the cause and effect of your point of attraction for the other? So don't you want to own what's going on in your vibration? What is that? Well, I've had this before where it felt good in the beginning and then it doesn't feel good, and I don't know if I want to go down that road again. Those are the physical words that describe that vibration. What if there's someone even better? What if this is 90% really, really good and 10% eh? What if there's 99% really good? What if this isn't who I want? Doubts are starting to come because you're focused upon this cosmos of the vibrational. So what are you offering vibrationally? Insecurity. What are you offering vibrationally? Give us the emotional words.
Insecurity was how it felt.
Insecurity.
Uncertain. Not unworthy. Uncertain.
Too much.
It's not my choice solely. There's somebody else and I'm uncertain, and what if he doesn't choose me but I choose
That's
him?
what this whole conversation is about. This whole conversation is going to lead to the discovery of how we get from each other what we are getting from each other and why. That really is what you're looking for, which is why you've attracted this experience, so that you can understand that, because you're interacting with people all the time. So earlier as we were talking to you and we said, you got that? And you said, yes, we've got that. So then what we want to say is, okay, now you've got that. Let's see how we're fitting together with other people. Let's see what the other components of the other vibrational offerers have to do. In other words, it's always a vibrational match, isn't it? You okay? You with us so far? All you have to do in owning your stuff is acknowledge, my insecurity is evoking what from him? Insecurity, defensiveness. If I weren't doing this, I wouldn't be getting that. If I weren't doing this, I wouldn't be getting that. So who's doing this to me? Where's the flaw? Where's the 10%? It's in you, it's not in him. I feel 90% sure of myself and 10% insecure. And why do you feel insecure? Past experience. Your inner being never looks back, so your inner being is not worried about you messing this one up. We're saying that playfully. This is a really helpful exercise. Let us just spell it out for you. When you're getting something from someone that you don't want, start by saying, wait a minute, it's not what they're asserting, it's what I'm asking for. All right, I'm going to get real with myself. What's going on in my vibration? Esther found something yesterday and the day before in her vibration that she has been denying for her entire life. And it showed up in an exchange with someone she loves. And suddenly, there it was for her to see. There it was, something that she did not believe that was there. An old thought that she used to think a long time ago that's still right there, and because it's there, the other person isn't even acting on a conscious basis often. Law of attraction's just got hold of them because you're running the show with your vibration completely. So what you want to say to each and every one of them is, I'm so glad to meet you. You're going to behave exactly as I create you to do. And they're going to say, wait a minute, don't I have free will? Not in my world. Let's clean that up. Of course they have free will, but most people are offering very sloppy vibrations. So when you start slopping up your vibration, then you start getting stuff that you don't want to get, and then you start looking for a different person. But you're going to find it everywhere you go if that's something that's still active in your vibration. Before we move on to the remedy, let's torture each other a little longer here. Because our friend earlier was talking about vibrational or emotional paradoxes. And we say there aren't any emotional paradoxes because what you've got going on vibrationally is going to be matched with precision. So if you're getting something, it's coming to you as a precise match of something that you're offering. So if you're getting something that you don't want, then you've got a vibration that you want to adjust. Don't you love knowing that? This is what hands in the clay is. And how are you going to know that if you don't have a life experience that causes you to look for it and find it? Yes? Because your inner being is not going to assert that knowledge into your experience. You've got to ask for it. You've got to attract it. Play with this a little bit, if you will. Let's identify some other emotions that don't feel good. And then let's talk about vibrational matches, emotional matches, and maybe circumstantial matches.
Sure. About the insecurity, but like a lack of, just like the I'm not doing it right, the lack of abundance or lack of knowingness.
Find an emotional word for that. I feel ineffective. Someone said it earlier and you didn't want to hear it. Unworthy.
It's not unworthy, it's more like incapable.
Incapable?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
I'm doing it wrong. I know what to do, but I am clearly not doing it. Otherwise, what I would want would be coming.
I'm doing it wrong. What's the emotion that comes with I'm doing it wrong? Guilt?
Shame, anger, yeah.
Guilt's the deepest one.
Guilt.
What are some perfect harmonic, emotional, vibrational matches to guilt? Blame.
Oh, yes, defensiveness, yes.
But the thing that we want you to hear is that when you feel guilty, you attract blame and then you feel defensive. So you're defending against your own emanation of vibration.
Sounds exhausting.
But it isn't, because once you get a handle, it sounds exhausting, but we're going to give you two options. You can figure this out, which we're going to do in the next few minutes, or you can train the whole damn billions of people on the planet how to respond to you.
Let's go ahead and figure it out.
You can start printing the pamphlets now. Here's what I need from each and every one of you. Here's my picture. When you see me coming, these are the things I need from you. Start with your personal family. That'll go well. These are the things that I need from you. Then branch out to your friends. You've got no choice. If you want to deliberately create your own experience, you've got to acknowledge what you're doing vibrationally, which means what you're doing with your thoughts that is causing you to attract unwanted. That's it. That's not difficult. That's easy. And the blessed others just keep showing up and performing for you. Here's a demonstration of something you've got going on vibrationally, is what each and every one of them could say to you if they just knew how it was working. All right, so now here's where it gets good. So let's say that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're feeling good most of the time. And you meditate every day and you align and what's in your vortex is easily received by you and you follow your impulses and you just feel really good most of the time. You rest well and you follow your bliss. You make lists of positive aspects and you just feel really good. That's what you emanate. And so that's who you attract. That's just who you attract. But you are also an expanding being. And you are never going to be without some gap. So there's always going to be something that you're going to ask for that is going to call more to you, sometimes through them. So start with the idea that you're tuned in, so most of them are too. That feels pretty good. Now start with the idea that you're not so tuned in and most of them aren't. But in any case, you're in the driver's seat. In any case, you're the one who's attracting the behavior or the words or the whatever to which you're having an emotional response that you are blaming on them. We know we are repeating over and over again, but we really want you to leave here knowing that whatever's coming to you is by your invitation. You might be creating by default. Esther was. She was offering a vibration that she would not admit until she saw evidence under the lens of a new emphasis that there is no assertion, there's only attraction. And she had to admit once and for all, I'm doing this to myself and using you as the cooperative component pawn who is giving it to me. That's freedom, folks. That's freedom. That's freedom. So now you might be saying, well, there's more for me to do and I can get better at this. But what we want you to hear from us is that you've sensed this for a long time, maybe even before you met us. And you were surrounded by those who refused to let you blame them. So you've been turning this back on yourself for a long time. Mm-hmm. And that's why you feel not prepared or not good at it and so willing to take the blame. But your inner being is not blaming you. There's no blame. That's like driving off on the shoulder of the road and feeling the little bumps under your tires and then being so embarrassed that you went out of your lane for a minute when the guideposts are there all along.